Did you know that Biafra existed for over 500 years before Nigeria? This region was part of three ancient kingdoms: the Kingdom of Zamfara in the north, the Kingdom of Biafra in the east, and the Kingdom of Benin in the west. These kingdoms were prominent on the map of Africa for more than 500 years, showcasing rich histories and cultures long before Nigeria was created in 1914. The Kingdom of Biafra, in particular, played a significant role in the region's historical landscape. The formation of Nigeria brought together these distinct kingdoms, each with its unique heritage, into a single nation. Understanding this history highlights the deep and diverse roots of the area now known as Nigeria. If you found this video informative, please don't forget to comment, share, and subscribe for more top contents like this.
Talking about Biafra.
Yes.
You had a meeting
Yes.
with Nnamdi Kanu, and that sparked, in fact, I think
New York.
I think you got arrested after that
Yes.
meeting. People would say, you people are not fighting the same cause. You are fighting to be the president of the country.
Yes.
He is fighting to divide the country.
Yes.
People would say, why would you be seen in such a meeting? Would you like to clear that
You
air?
see, anybody that lacks any sense of consciousness would ignore social movements. That is the problem with Nigerian leadership. You cannot have a country in which there are 251 tribes or languages, and one big section says, we are not satisfied with here, and you don't talk to them, you don't understand them. Then you are not a leader of that country. The reason I met him was to understand first what his struggle was about, which I knew already. And secondly, to also advise him on the way that I think we could all work together. And thirdly, to send a message to the Nigerian people that we can walk through our differences, even at these levels. And I was surprised that, contrary to what some people are saying, he did not want Nigeria to break up. He wanted a Nigeria where the Igbo man can survive. But for an Igbo man to survive in Nigeria, as it is currently put together, Nigeria must break.
Wait, the meeting you had with Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
You are telling us now that Nnamdi Kanu, from what you understand from the
Yes.
meeting with him,
Yes.
he does not want Nigeria to break, to divide.
No, he said clearly that it is too late for Nigeria to come together. But he gave his conditions. We live streamed the meeting now. It's online.
Okay.
And part of it was live streamed. Some of them were private. But he said that he feels that if Nigeria were to respect certain protocols, including a referendum inserted in the constitution, and he still says it even now in court, that if he's released, he will go back and end the bloodshedding. The bloodshedding is in that part, and that a conversation can. He says that in every court appearance, that he's being held is not helping the opportunity to have a conversation about whatever it is, the unity you are begging for. But you see, Nigeria has a problem. And I've always said, Nigeria has an Igbo problem. And I'm not saying it to please people who are known as Igbos. But the moment they decided to take the action they took in 1967 to 1970, the war, Nigeria, having won that war in their eyes, never forgave the Igbos. That is the reality. And if I were to be president of Nigeria today, the first thing I would do is to head to the Southeast and apologize to them for the war. Part of it is that I'd never participated in it. And I cannot continue to fight a war that I did not engage in. And then ask them, what do we want?
So are you saying that the federal government has, even before
Successive governments,
Yes.
they've always had this anger against the Igbos?
There is a secret memo, I don't know where it is located, in government, that whenever we want to take charge in this country, be careful of the Igbo. Don't give them position. Don't give them opportunity. Otherwise, they will overrun. It's a well-known fact. Even our parents
Wow.
tell us, Igbo, You understand?
Eh.
Some of them even say unconsciously. They even say it on radio shows in this country. So don't let us lie to ourselves, because except we bring this out openly and
Yes.
discuss, it's a taboo that we have refused to discuss.
True.
We are not going to solve the problem. It is the reason why the federal government of Nigeria feels that in 2024, detaining Nnamdi Kanu against all the court orders, against all the court rulings, is the only way to go. You know, I was detained in the DSS place for 5 months.
Yes.
There's nothing there to detain anybody. The place is not even functioning. The DSS headquarters. Yes, is it the same DSS people who are watching BB Nigeria from morning till night? No, it's true now. I was there with them for 5 months. I've said this publicly. So all the institutions in this country are broken down. But let's get back to a reality. One thing I've told people is that you are looking at Igbos as the only people who want to secede. But who in this country today has not mentally seceded from Nigeria?
Mentally seceded.
Who has not left? Except those who are trapped. If anybody in this country is working in a bank and he has 10 million naira and somebody say you can get into Canada, he will leave the next day.
I swear.
Is that not secession? Is it what does secession is? That you leave a country,
Yes.
you say to that country goodbye,
And not do it
you
again.
get to the other country, you bow down, you touch the
Soil.
the soil,
Anything they say, give you go do am.
and then you renounce your citizenship of the country you are coming from. Is that not what they call secession? So, if you want to look at the number of people that have seceded in that Japa syndrome, there are more than all the Igbos combined together who are asking to leave. And in the process of keeping Nigeria united, we have let go of more citizens than the country should have. Yes.
So you think if they had, because I mean, from the last thing you said now, you say in the process of trying to keep Nigeria united,
Yes.
we have let go of more citizens than we should have.
Of course.
So if we had allowed for the division or secession of Nigeria, most of our citizens that are outside would not have been outside.
No, you see, it is not the secession I'm talking about.
Okay, what are you talking about?
It is what led to
this
the war that we
Okay.
did not address.
Okay.
And what happened after the war. Why is it that Nigeria hasn't been able to overcome the Biafran problem? It's because Nigeria never addressed
The
what
root
the
cause.
Biafrans were asking for before the war.
What were they asking?
They were asking for to be treated not as second-class citizens in this country. Don't you know what happened, the called pogrom in this country, where people were slaughtered and their bodies and their heads placed inside the train going down south? Yes, from the north, from the mid, the different parts of the north. Are we ignoring that? So
That happened.
of
Before the
course,
war?
Before the
Yes.
war. That's what they call pogrom.
History.
You know, people who were settled, doing well, they were slaughtering them and sending their bodies and their heads inside calabash and sending on trains that was heading east.
Were they Easterners?
They were
Yes,
Easterners.
Southeasterners.
Why are you asking me?
Resident in
It's
the
there
northern
in,
part of
go and
Nigeria.
Google it now. So you expect that will happen, and then there was a war that eviscerated 3 million people.
Wow.
And when the war was over, you just say, oh, nobody was vanquished, nobody was
Was victor.
victorious. And then
3 hours.
but you still kept a memo and said, don't trust them.
Collect people money.
Yes.
Give them 20 pounds.
And then you took their properties. Ojukwu did not get back JAMB until 1992 now, his father's house, that is known as JAMB headquarters here in Ikoyi. It was after he came back from Ivory Coast. It was Babangida, I think, that gave him back their property. So any country that is perpetually carrying out systemic injustice against will lose more citizens than they should have. The reason why countries that are work is because citizens believe in their country. And you cannot force that belief. It has to come through social justice.
True.
It has to come through economic justice. Why is it that, my children can feel like they're US citizens, even though they were born there? It's because before they let you take them out of the hospital, they must take all their immunity
Everything.
injections. You cannot put them at home and not go back to the doctor to go and complete it. And when it's time for school, they cannot be out of school for 2 days. And you'll be saying that, no, I want Shikira to go and be selling pure water. He will go to jail. So, and then when it's time for them to go to college, there is loan, there is grants,
You are talking far.
If you look at critically the 5 southeast states now, in terms of resources, I mean, there are more oil wells outside the southeast than within the southeast. So what exactly is the federal government interested in the southeast that they can't let them go?
You are talking. Now, remember, it is out of what? Fear, paranoid. You know, if you allow the southeast to go, the likelihood is that other regions will want to go too. That is the first thing that they are afraid of. They forgot that the Igbo man, his own lifestyle, his own makeup, his own worldview is different. As an egalitarian society and all that, all this thing about having one man up there who will tell the whole people what to do is not common with us, even though we have business and all that. That is why they have been able to come out of the civil war to be where they are today. Are you getting it? So if you allow such a person who are very diligent at work, who are everything you can think of in terms of what? Resource management, in terms of diligence, in terms of creativity, who will not do it for Nigeria? That is their fear.
I would like for you to look at also what happened between Sudan and South Sudan. You know, there was conflict there for over 40 years, in and out of war between the North and the South. More like what is happening here. Our own, for 3 years, we had a civil war. But in Sudan, the war has raged there for more than 45 years. And in 2006, they had this comprehensive peace agreement, the CPA, under the watch of Colin Powell. And at the end of the day, they voted to leave and they left. Despite the fact that there is internal crisis in South Sudan, at least they understand that it is between the Nuer and the Dinka, not between the Arabs and the black people. And by the way, do you think that if there's a referendum and people vote overwhelmingly to remain in Nigeria, do you think it's going to bring about peace in this country?
They will not, because they need you. You know, when you have enslaved your subjects and this subject has become your hewer of wood and fetchers of your water, how will you let him go? Remember what happened in Egypt when God said you should allow my people to go. Pharaoh refused with all manner of excuses and all that, until Moses now devised a plan. He said, look, let us go and worship our God for 3 days. For 3 days. That was when Pharaoh now said, okay, 3 days. And the Egyptians are still waiting for Israel to come back till today. So, when you see such a situation, you don't need to push it. Look at these other people who have been killing people. Is there anything we have not done for them to settle down? There was Roga. There was a cattle colony. In fact, there is even ranch now. They have created a ministry for them. All for us to have peace. Is that not true? But did any of them work?
Okay,
No.
Barrister, when you say
Do you think it's possible for Nnamdi Kanu to separate himself from the alleged activities of IPOB? Can he separate himself, fight his rendition, and be discharged and acquitted on that basis before coming back to defend IPOB? Is that a possibility? Is that going to help in any way?
It would have been possible, but we are in Nigeria where Nnamdi Kanu's case is like a cockroach in the gathering of fowl of the hen. The cockroach will never be innocent. They will always find reason to push it, even though Nnamdi Kanu wants to separate himself, which I don't see it even coming up. But the real reason why that group is being pinned and is being pinned against Kanu, what we expect is let the federal government or those who are prosecuting him, let them list all the various agitation groups. Then give us the criteria of saying this is a terrorist organization, this is a politically motivated or whatever. Let them give us this criteria to prescribe IPOB as it is, because I really don't subscribe to whatever thing they are doing. It's just a way for them to go at their against. What these persons are agitating for is not something that we must force them. At least they have their freedom of opinion, they can express themselves.
Dr. Brighton Ovekoko, some will say with the sit-at-home order that was being declared or that they declared in the southeast, and also the killings and the fact that some persons have come up to say that he obstructed freedom of movement and all that for the people who are not really members of IPOB in the southeast, isn't that enough reason for them to be prescribed, given the fact that some persons have died also in the southeast?
The sit-at-home, or let's start with that. There are different ways to protest. We can choose to wear a uniform. We can choose to go to a gathering. We can choose to say, today, we are not going out just to push our message across. Then, talking about some of those killings, I don't know any of those killings wherein they've kind of traced, but it is more of alleged that they traced to say, okay, IPOB did this, IPOB did this. It is more of alleged. So you can't actually use that. If you say, okay, nobody should step out, people are staying inside, and some that step out are attacked. You cannot definitely clearly say it is those who ask them to sit indoor that will actually came out to attack this person. So, like Barrister Darity mentioned just now, I don't know, I may be wrong. We have these bandits and others killing people. I've not seen any write-up, any news headline from the government of the day calling them a terrorist organization.